All right. Welcome to That Metal Podcast. I'm Wolfman Dave.
And I'm Erik Valverde.
This is episode 186. For metalheads, by metalheads. How are you? How have you been?
Doing well. It's been a few months since we last got together.
You've been busy.
Yes.
In a lot of different ways. Very cool. You have... Well, we have been talking about this, a few weeks already?
Yeah.
Or a little bit longer, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, about a few weeks or
maybe a month. Yeah. And on the last podcast I did like a solo, like 15, 20-minute episode. And I was talking about, I hinted at where we're going to record. I hinted that we're going to do our top albums of 2024, which we'll get to in a moment.
Yes.
Usually I tend to ask people, what we've been listening to lately. But for me lately, it's been a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about. And you talked about earlier, I thought it was funny that you're going to change up the order of things on your list, because I had like 3 or 4 changes. And so I know how that felt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just going to start by saying this was an amazing year for metal. Like,
hell yeah.
2024, it's probably been the best year in metal in at least 10 years for me. Around that.
Yeah.
I don't know for you.
Usually, every year I say, this is the best year. This was the best year. This is a pretty fucking good year. It was ridiculous, I think, with the amount of quality releases, because I'm noticing on a lot of people's lists, even on prog metal lists, some of the bands that I have on mine are on theirs, so they might be on yours too. So I thought that was really cool, because even there's certain bands that cross over, even though they're death metal or black metal, they cross over to this other, So my list is going to be super varied. It's not going to be one side heavier than the other, I think.
Okay.
And of course, if I wanted to do, like I said, if we wanted to, we probably could have done 25, 30 or more. I know some of my friends are doing 100. Some are doing 60. I don't have time for that shit. That's a lot of music. That's a lot of fucking music, man. I don't have time for that. So it's cool, but I need to listen to other stuff. Like, I can't just be listening to music. I have to have my podcasts.
I agree.
Movies or whatever. I can't just be listening to that 24/7. And which kind of brings me to what I was going to tell you earlier. I had mentioned earlier that I got a record player.
Yeah.
And if you guys listened to the last podcast, I kind of talked about that too. But so I bought this rinky dinky, I don't know, it was like a Victrola Crossley one at a thrift store.
Okay.
And at the same time, I bought a what do you call it? Like a tape deck. The ones that you can record on it.
Oh,
They're the little rectangular ones, right?
Yeah.
And you just plug it in and play it wherever you want. So I bought that for $7, I think, or $8. And then the record player was like $20.
Okay.
Maybe 22. So I was like, less than 30. I bought both of these, and I'm like, cool. I had records that some of my buddies had gifted me in the past, so I was listening to that. And I bought tapes that I had in the past, all in the wild, stuff like that from thrift stores. So it kind of started this snowball, like just obsession of wanting to listen to and buy vinyl and tapes. And then we ended up buying a better record player. Okay. So I ended up buying one that's called one by one record player.
Okay, haven't seen those.
It came with speakers and everything, so it's got a preamp built in. You could put your amp on it too as well. It came with speakers. So like, you already have everything together. I did put my powered speakers though. The edifiers. I put RCA cables. And so what we ended up doing is we ended up buying a CD player with a tape deck.
Okay.
So boombox.
Okay.
And I put aux to RCAs out, and I connected those to the edifier speakers. So the record player, the CD, and the tape all play on the edifier speakers, and it sounds really fucking good, man.
Nice.
And like it's a stupid little setup for me because I had to like buy everything, but
Yeah.
it works. So now I'm collecting CDs again. I'm collecting tapes and records and everything. In fact, before I came over here, I had just bought a Iron Maiden, well, their first album. Some dude hooked it up for 15. I thought that was a really good price. I think 15.
Yeah, for vinyl, it's a good
Yeah,
price.
that was a very good price, especially for their debut. And again, like I said in the past, like I wanted to buy stuff that meant a lot to me, and that was one of the albums that stuck to me when I was younger.
Okay.
And I think that might have been the first album that I heard from them, and I think that's why I have a sentimental value. I think for me. So there's that, and hopefully I don't become one of those like fucking vinyl snobs or assholes or whatever. like it doesn't sound like dramatically better. It just sounds different.
Yeah, and I agree. That's I would say a misconception of vinyl, right? It sounds better for the people that grew up on it, and that's the sound they like.
Right.
So that's why they think it sounds better. I mean, it sounds great, but the thing about vinyl as well is that they're great memorabilia. They're big. That's a great way to own the artwork, and they can put a lot of things in there. So not only can you own it, you can display it. Yeah. In some of my rooms in my house, I do have some vinyl hung up.
Yeah.
And I have some other vinyl stored. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I do buy vinyl. I don't listen to vinyl as much, even though I own. I mean, I'm not gonna say like hundreds or anything, but I do a few dozen probably. Yeah. Vinyl, but still, it's great because you can display it, you can see it, you can hold it and keep it. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's great in many different ways.
I think that's the cool part about it though is like I was saying before that like turning, flipping the record over. Yeah. It's like a ritual in itself. Putting it on, putting the needle,
I agree.
You go in fully expecting to listen to each side. And me, because I have like fucking music ADHD and I'll fucking just be switching songs and I'll have playlists. Yeah. It's just centered me so that I could just listen to an album in its entirety and be happy. And going back and focusing on what the music was about. Not skipping, just letting it play and enjoy it. And I've gotten a better appreciation. Like I used to do that when I was in my early 20s and my teens. And now I understand it more. Like I forgot how that felt, Yeah. And then it felt good, man. So I'm happy to do that again.
Yeah. And a good thing about vinyl also is that it's getting the like newer generations to appreciate music and older music as well, because they're doing it backwards the way that we did it. So we started with this analog type of music like vinyl and cassette, like this physical media. Then we moved into digital with CDs. Then we moved into like just plain digital and virtual and like stream-based media, right? Yeah. But younger generations, they started with the digital and stream-based media. Yeah. And their way of rebelling is actually going back to the older media, finding it and finding gems. Right. That way, that's how they discover music the way we used to, right? Yeah. Because now, yes, you can discover great bands online, but it doesn't feel the same way as finding a random I don't know, vinyl or CD that you like the cover and it's intriguing and like it.
That's funny.
Basically, you're curious about it and you cannot just play it right away and know how it sounds, right?
Sometimes you got duds.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got shit albums. Sometimes you got, like you said, jams, man. Sometimes it was like, that's why I would buy a lot of times the CD samplers.
Okay.
I used to buy CD samplers because it had a bunch of bands on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, if I like it, I'll buy the CD. And so that's how it was for me. And they were cheaper.
Yeah, they were.
You could probably buy like 2 or 3 of those with $20 back in the day, early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
And instead of one CD for $20,
No.
you know, now you can't even buy a CD for $20.
No, you can't. Like,
so
for some bands, no.
I have to negotiate that with myself. Like, is it worth that price? Like, do I want it that much? And again, now I'm just collecting stuff that I really enjoyed when I was in high school.
Okay.
So let's say Gates of Ishtar, the Dawn of Flames album.
Okay.
About that one, but the reissue, but still, it has the insert of the original artwork.
Okay. For did you buy in vinyl or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a nice orange color. But Amon Amarth, their first album, because that's my favorite Amon Amarth album.
It's great.
I started with them as they were each album that will come out.
Okay, so you discovered them
right off the first album.
Right off the first album,
and then they had just barely, and then
that's great.
The year later they came up with the second, and then just the Avenger, and then it just kept going. I bought Injustice for All from Metallica. Well, my wife bought that for me. She bought Orchid and Morning Rise from Opeth.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, they sound fucking great. And Injustice for All. That's my favorite Metallica album. And a bunch of other stuff like Sabotage.
Okay.
Streets, a rock opera or metal opera. I forget what it's called. But yeah, I have a lot of like stuff that I'm, that instead of buying, like if I want to buy new shit that I've not really heard, I'll buy the CD for that.
Okay.
I'll rather just buy that, And some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, I might want to buy the vinyl.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that we had talked about too is stuff that we look forward to next year.
Yes.
I think I'd like for you to share first. Go for it.
All right, yeah, we can start. I mean, we mentioned this was a great year for metal.
Yeah.
And I'm already excited about next year for a few things. I mean, I can share. Do you want me to share just one or one by one, or do I share just Smelly?
However you want.
Okay, so let's keep it metal.
Okay.
So two things that I'm excited about. One is probably the new release by the Halo Effect. I already listened to it, and it's coming up in January. And I just interviewed Michael Stan in my channel in Veriku.
Yeah. And
that made me even more excited because I don't usually when I meet artists and everything, it's I don't know. I obviously keep it professional and everything. But there has been very few artists that have made me as excited to talk to as this guy, Michael Stanek. Because Dark Tranquillity is my favorite band. And I've been liking a lot of what he's been doing. He focused on Dark Tranquillity for 30 years or so. And now he has a lot of bands. So I'm excited about that part of it. And the second thing that I'm excited about is that The Gathering, which is also one of my top 5 bands of all time, is doing a kind of reunion concert because they're still playing. They have a different singer, but they are doing a one-off kind of. It's 4 shows or 5 shows I think they're doing with Annika van Giersbergen playing the Mandelion album. Like, it's not the debut album from The Gathering, but it's the first album they recorded with her. Yeah. And we bought tickets.
Yeah, that's lucky, dude. Lucky, because those fucking sell out quick.
We struggled for like 10 minutes.
Shit.
Because we thought they run out. We missed it and everything.
Yeah.
Refreshing the page, opening it in different tabs on the phone, on the computer, until I was able to get some. So yeah.
That's awesome. How exciting, dude.
Yeah.
And then you had just gone. Was it last year to Arion?
Yeah, last year, me and my wife went to see Arion.
Yeah.
The 01011, whatever.
Yeah.
However many zeros and ones it is. Yeah. Show. And then next year we're gonna go see The Gathering. And we are excited.
I'm gonna look for you on the. I just recently bought the Blu-ray. Haven't seen it yet, so
yeah.
I'll look for you.
I didn't find myself.
No? Damn it. Okay. If I find you, I'll tell you. That's funny. Yeah, that's something to be excited about, dude. And you got lucky there, man. That's fucking cool. I
We
think
did.
one of the things that I'm excited for is for sure the new Halo effect. I'm hoping Agalock does more touring because they're already doing more shows. Hopefully, they do a full length. Wishful thinking, but you never know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening with Catatonia. I'm not sure if Anders is in the band anymore because he's not playing with them. He hasn't been playing with them for about a year now, something like that. There's a lot of this drama that people are always talking shit back and forth on the Catatonia fan page and just a bunch of drama.
Yeah. Sometimes it's made up. Sometimes you don't know what's real. But yeah.
I would hope that if maybe, this is my wishful thinking, the Christmas miracle that I spoke of earlier, I would love for him to maybe start up Diabolical Masquerade again. You know,
Yeah.
that would be really cool.
That would be awesome.
Like for me, Death's design is a fucking masterpiece. I'm hoping that he could follow it up. I mean, that was what, 2001 maybe? I don't know. It's been like 20 something, over 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was him and Dan Swano who just did that. And he had a little, I don't know, it was an orchestra or a choir, and that's all he had. And they did everything. So
yeah,
I could only hope for that. I really would like that. Really looking forward to the new Night Flight Orchestra album.
Okay.
And then the new Old Man's Child.
Oh yeah,
album.
Old Man's Child. That's true. I
I'm
forgot about it.
hoping we get it next year. Maybe probably by the end of the year, maybe, or hopefully summer. But Galder had already pointed like we're like in full steam on that. So
yeah,
super looking forward to that. And yeah, I mean, pretty much as far as I know, I mean, I don't know what else I have heard in the news or anything like that. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that I look forward to.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm looking forward to. It's not metal, but it's more on the folk side. We're gonna go see Eivor live. I don't know if you've heard her. It's kind of like a Mirkur, Wardruna kind of music.
Okay.
A bit more on the pop side, but it's still like very folky. Mm-hmm. And you mentioning Old Man's Child made me remember that this year the Covenant came back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they've been doing some shows, and next year they're doing some more shows.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope to see them live sometime. I don't know. It's just those bands like Demo Borger, Cradlefield, Old Man's Child, The Covenant that helped me get into like stream metal in a way.
And there's like a connection
with all of them.
These
yeah.
Guys. Yeah,
and
cool.
I think the main connection would be Sarah Jezebel Deva.
Okay.
I think she's played with all.
Keys, right?
Oh no, it was Kim Goss that played keys in Demo, but Sarah played in Cradle and Covenant.
And then Kim sang. Well, she did Synergy.
Yes, yeah. Kim did Synergy.
Oh, the drummer is ¿cómo se llama? I don't know, but he was in Mayhem.
Oh yeah,
he was in Mayhem. Never mind. Yeah. But they're Norwegian.
Yeah.
Except for Cradle.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're Norwegian.
So no,
guys, they hang out at each other's houses every night, probably. For all we know, shit. They probably don't even live that far from each other.
I know.
But yeah, that's funny, dude. Yeah. Good shit right there, man.
Yeah.
So I think with this list, I do have honorable mentions.
Okay.
Did you have some honorable mentions?
I do. We're gonna keep 8. It to 15 and then a few honorable mentions, or how do you?
I have 8 honorables and then 15 best on my best stuff.
Okay. I have probably. Oh, this didn't update. Probably 3 honorable and then 4 honorable and then 15
of the year
or so. Yeah.
Well, let me start with 3 of my 8 of the honorable, and then we can go switch back and forth with honorable.
Yeah, I just want to I touch back on something you said at the beginning when we were talking about this year and the lists that I've been seeing. Last year, the year before that, I noticed there were many bands. I mean, not many. There were just 1 or 2 bands that were repeating a lot on everyone's top 5, or not everyone's, but many people's top 5 or so.
Yeah.
This year, there's probably only 1, and that is also in my top 5 that I've seen repeating a lot.
Yeah. It's probably gonna be in our
probably it's gonna be in your top 15 at least, maybe.
yeah.
But there's very few that I've seen repeating as much as previous years. So yeah.
You know, that's true. We'll see. And I wanted to iterate with these honorable mentions. They're still good.
Yeah.
And likely if I did it to 20, 25, 30, the list, then they'd probably be on there anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just not good enough. I just want to put that out there.
Same here. Yeah.
I just want to put it out there. So I'll do 5 then.
Okay, then
we'll
I'll do 5.
Because you have 3, no?
I can do 5.
For your honorables?
Yeah. I mean, I have a top 25 and then I stopped counting. Like there were so many.
Yeah, let's do 5 then out of
Okay.
ours. So for me, the first one that I wanted to start with was Devin Townsend Power Nerd.
Okay.
It was a good Devin Townsend album. I can't really it just had a little bit of differentness going on to it. Like there's that what was it, that weird song at the end? I forgot what it was called. But it was so much different than the rest of the album. When he released that song Power Nerd, I was all fucking on board. But the rest of the album was not as intense or as fast or heavy or anything like that. The one thing for me though, it was still a good album though. The one thing that for me that was interesting to hear from him was that he has like 4 other albums
Okay.
in the works right now, or 4 or 3
Wow.
at the same time. And so this fucker's busy, dude.
He's
busy, man. But I'm gonna start with Power Nerd.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, that didn't get to my top this year. And I love Devin Townsend. And I love Devin Townsend.
Yeah.
And for it to not get to my top, that tells about this year.
Yeah.
My probably the one that I'm gonna add here is Andy Gillian. You probably know him as he used to be the guitarist for Mors Principium Est. This is his 3rd solo album, and it's called Exilium. For the previous 2 albums, he went a lot like more progressive kind of metal and strictly instrumental. Now he went full on melodic death metal again.
Okay.
And he also started doing vocals.
Okay.
So that's a new thing. And I mean, he's released 3 albums since he left Mors Principium Est. Well, he got kicked out. And Mors Principium Est has released 0 albums since then.
Shit.
So yeah, that speaks about the level of
involvement
and how involved he was in the composition process. So if you like Mors Principium Est, then check out this album for sure.
I saw the name.
Yeah.
Like I had seen the name. So, okay. Nice. This might be on your list. I don't know. But for me, because of the other ones that are like prog on my list,
okay,
I had to kind of boot it out. And this is Ritual with The Story of Mr. Bogd. If you're into like old school prog rock, folk prog, like Genesis,
okay,
Selling England for a Pound, that the old stuff, and folksy prog rock, then you'd like The Ritual. That one took me by surprise, and I heard it. I saw the cover, and it reminded me of like a cartoony version of the Summerlin, the cover art from this dissection.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, this is cool. It's not the same thing, but I mean, I'm like, this is really cool. But it didn't make the top 15. It's still a really good prog rock album, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Mine probably would be Evergrey. Evergrey released Theories of Emptiness this year. It's a great album. I like Evergrey, but more so I like Tom England's vocals. And they had a song there that they asked people to collaborate in it and be part of the chorus. Me and my wife were able to send the recordings, and we're there on the list and everything.
That's cool.
You can really notice because there were like 50 people or more there, probably 100. But it was cool. It was a cool experience, and also it's a good album. It's a solid album.
Yeah.
It didn't get to the top 15.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen it in many people's top 15 or
Yeah.
top 10.
I have seen it too. Yeah. I mean, he's got some sexy vocals, dude.
Yeah.
Super sultry. Very nice. And I'm glad I think his wife refined his vocals, no? Like she like really taught him how to sing better and do better. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I know she sings in one song of this album.
Okay.
And it's the same song that Jonas Brensk from Katatonic sings in. I think so.
Yeah, I noticed her on Recreation Day.
Okay.
And I think he had, in an interview, said something like that. She's the one who helped him. So, and I mean, I don't know what he said. He's like Michael from Opeth. Oh, I don't know how to play. Shut up. You guys know how to play. What do you guys, like Arjun too. Arjun from Arion. He's like, I don't know how to play guitar. Bro, you know how to play guitar, man. No te hagas. Yeah, he knows how to play. For me, and we had talked about this. You had brought it up. And we were super excited, and we're like talking back and forth. And Cemetery Skyline.
Okay.
Right? Nordic Gothic. Fucking great. Michael, again, super catchy choruses and super catchy songs. I mean, you have like almost like metal royalty on here.
Yeah.
And so I had to leave it out in my top 15.
Okay.
And it's still good though, you know.
I mean, it is on my.
Yeah. Okay. So you could expand on it then. So
I'll get to it because it is
Yeah, when we get to that, yeah, that's cool.
Okay, my list moved a bit, but I think I gotta go with Charlotte Vessels from
Delane.
I'm still debating, like even right now, if she's on my top 15 or not. But it's a great album.
This was good. Yeah.
And I wasn't never a big fan of Delane.
I love them, dude.
And we actually met each other. I think at one of those concerts, the one with Amorphis and Annika. Did you go? Yeah. We saw each other there. Mm-hmm. My wife is a great big fan of Delane and of Charlotte. It's probably in her top 5 of this year. Yeah. It's like basically from here up to my top 15, all of those are tied there. So yeah,
that was a good album.
It is a good album. Very proggy for the style and heavy. Yeah.
I mean, I think this is going to be on everyone's. At one point, I think everyone's list. Judas Priest with Invincible Shield. Great album. It's Judas Priest.
Yeah,
you can't go wrong. They're still fucking firing on all cylinders. Shows you what the young blood can bring to the table, the guitarists, and what they're able to do. They still got it. Rob still has it. It's going to be on a lot of lists, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not on my top 15. But great album, for sure.
How many? Where are we?
I think we're on 4.
This is the 4th one? Okay. The Black Dahlia Murder. Servitude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With the new... Well, isn't it the guitarist?
He used to be the guitarist. He's now the vocalist.
Yeah. He left and he came back, no?
Not 100% sure. I think he was always there.
Okay.
In some sort. It was always him and Trevor. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we know what happened with Trevor. Yeah. And even though the Black Dahlia Murder was always a complicated band for me, more so because being a elitist when I was younger, but
they're wearing polo shirts, playing this type of metal,
and like all the kids wearing, like the emo kids wearing their shirts, like colorful shirts and all that. But I grew to really respect them and really love a few of their albums with time. Great melodic death metal. And this new album is really good. Like it barely got left out of my top 15.
What I like about Black Dahlia is that they pay a lot of respect to a lot of the early 90s bands.
Yeah.
And you could see that, especially with the cover art that they choose. They do like throwbacks in their way. The guitars, everything that they do it with like a respect, and that they're not trying to rip anything off. Mm-hmm. But they want to show that they love that kind of music as well.
Yeah.
And and that's where I was like, all right, I used to be the same where I'm like, I don't like them. But no, man, there was a point, I don't know if it was like 2008 or 2010, where that changed.
Yeah.
You know? So, good one. If you're into old, like, Brave Murder Day era Catatonia,
Okay.
Blazing Eternity, A Certain End of Everything. I mean, some of it is just straight up fucking almost taken from like Brave Murder Day.
Okay.
Even then, very fucking good. But had I done 20, that one for sure would have been on my top 20. But I think for us, I think the top 15 is a nice sweet spot, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Last one on my honorable mentions, I think it's gonna be Flesh God Apocalypse opera.
That's a good one.
It's a really good album. It's innovative for Flesh God, not necessarily innovative for metal.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it isn't higher up there. But the way they are innovating, it's a style of metal that I like more on the gothic symphonic metal side.
Yeah.
Like Tristania, like old Nightwish and all that. That Nightwish not gothic that much, but like the Sins of Thy Beloved and all that.
Yeah.
That kind of style of metal that they're implementing on this album, while still having some songs that are plain old like symphonic technical death metal.
Yeah.
But a few more softer songs that are more in that style, which is a style that I love.
Right.
But the change and it not being innovating in a like necessarily a new way made it not be on my top probably.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I think it was last year or the other year, Septic Flesh released the album, and that was fucking incredible.
Okay.
That was like, I think that was in my top 5. I don't know, it was last year or the year before. And that was like cinematic. I mean, it was like fucking, you're watching a movie, but it's like metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's so good. So when they're able to change up that formula, you know, then people are going to want to listen to that, you know? So.
No, I agree.
Good stuff. Yeah, man, I think we do our final or our best of 2024. And I think we should say again that these are our favorites. So it might not be some of yours. But still, they're good albums. Can't complain, man. I mean, again, like we have to, I think, emphasize that it was such a fucking good year for metal that there really is something for everybody. There really is.
There really is.
So,
yeah, it came to the point that this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to do this every year, but some years I do pay attention to like the innovation, as I mentioned, and how like the musicianship and everything to consider them like top albums. But this year I had to go strictly for what I listened to the most.
Yeah.
Strictly. Like
agreed.
That's what I had to do because there's so much.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So best of 2024.
Yes.
You want to start first?
Sure. Let me start. This is a band that has been in background for a while for me. Not a band that I listen to as much usually, but that a few songs have been there for many years.
Okay.
But this year they made a great album. Thy Catafalque.
Okay. Yeah.
The album, I know it's the number 12 in Roman numerals, and then many words in a language that I don't speak.
Yeah.
I don't remember where they're from. Somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Okay. Yeah.
But that is a really good album. Very versatile in a way, while still being consistent, like to their style.
Very avant-garde.
Yeah, you heard it already?
I've heard maybe the last 2 or 3 albums from them.
Yeah.
For sure.
one of my favorite genres in music in metal is avant-garde.
Mhm.
I love all the crazy
Mhm.
metal and crazy sounds.
Yeah.
But this one, while it's still crazy in a way, it's very cohesive, but also varied. Like it goes from very folky to melodic death to proggy to
Like black, no?
black
Like
in
black.
some parts,
Mhm.
post metal maybe in others.
Yeah.
It's very solid. It's a great album.
I listened to it, but I didn't pay enough attention to it. So I'll have to.
Yeah, I
I'll
mean
have
it
to.
was released last month, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's one of the latest releases. It's probably um, yeah, it's one of the two releases that were able to get into my list from the last few months.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, I'll have
What
to check
about
it
you?
out because,
Yeah.
like I said, I had heard their recent releases, and so I'll have to check that out. So, I'm gonna start with a new wave of British heavy metal band, Amethyst. They released an album called Rock Knights,
Okay.
like a knight in shining armor, and everything that they've done, everything that they released. This is their first official album. First album. They did an EP, and that's what got me. But Rock Knights, if you're into the new wave of British heavy metal, modern band, young bucks, early 20s,
Okay.
but it sounds like it's like late 70s. It's so fucking early 80s. It sounds so fucking good. Um, and I can't for the life of me remember where they're from. Um, but yeah, man, if you really dig new wave of British heavy metal, this is probably going to be the only one that's besides the prog bands that are not. It's not on the heavier side.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting. I didn't really um, see their name or see them around.
yeah,
So
it's like I guess like the Gem by Amethyst.
okay.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. If you, I'm not sure if you're a big fan of that, or do you listen to a lot of new wave of British heavy metal,
Not a lot. Iron Maiden
Yeah.
and
like the classic stuff?
yeah, classic stuff, and I still don't listen to them as much as I did when I was younger, to be honest.
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay, next one. I don't remember if last time we met this album already was released already, and if it was, I think I spoke about it. Yep. Mother Mortem,
Yes.
Old Eyes, New Heart.
Mhm.
It's this prog metal with a very particular vocalist, the way she sounds.
Right.
She sings with a lot of emotion, very raw sounding,
Yeah.
but very cool. And it's not a traditional kind of prog metal at all. It tinges on avant-garde sometimes, but it's not too avant-garde. Tinges on raw gothic metal at points, but it's still not that. So it's a really, really nice album. Probably my favorite song from that album was Things I'll Never Do.
Okay.
Even if it wasn't one of the singles, I really like that song.
Yeah. That's cool. I know there's for sure you did talk about that. I remember there was one album that was like Brown Mud or Muddy or somebody, I remember that.
Yeah, one of the first albums, Deadlands.
Old, right? Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to listen to it more because I had started like trying to listen to them, and then with my fucking ADHD musically, I just like go other places. So
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. So all right. Now we're going into like fucking death metal, but like technical death metal, I would say.
Okay.
And it's Typhonian. I'm not sure if you heard Typhonian. This one is called The Gate of the Veiled Beyond. And I don't know how to describe it musically. It's kind of, I called it like putrid cosmic metal.
Okay.
It's like fucking stinky, dirty, slimy cosmic metal. Like death metal, like they section.
Okay.
But like death metal. And like intergalactic type shit, man, otherworldly, and I fucking loved it. They're from Germany, and I think they're on Transcending Obscurity Records. Um, Man, to me, this is my favorite death metal release of the year.
Okay.
Purists probably won't like it because they hear melodies and they're like, no, I don't want that, you know. But it's still fucking good. There's no way you can listen to that and say this fucking sucks or it's not death metal or whatever. It's fucking good, man. It's fucking heavy. So definitely, if you're into like dissection or old school death metal, sometimes you'll hear those old Swedish death metal riffs, like the buzzsaw mixed in. It's not necessarily the main sound because it's not, but I could see fans of dissection and old school Swedish heavy, death metal. Fans that like that metal will like Typhonian.
Nice. For me, next one, and first of all, I just wrote that down because I do like me some technical death metal.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll check them out. But next one on my list, Seal and Ardor. Do you know them, Seal and Ardor? For some people, they're not metal.
They're from like Louisiana, aren't they? Or
no, they're actually from Switzerland, I think.
Oh,
or French, kind of.
Yeah.
But he speaks French, but I think he's French Swiss or French.
Okay. That's what I probably thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the style, it's very like
voodoo. No, not voodoo. What is it called?
It's like old school, but by old school we mean like really like ancient style of African American music.
Okay. Yeah.
But like even before African American, like a slave music that he mixed with black metal at the beginning, but it's more like a post metal, prog metal, rock ish.
Okay.
Very groovy, very interesting blend of music. And this particular album, they went a bit more alternative in a way, but it's still pretty interesting. It's pretty good, and it's one of probably 3 or 4 albums that I have on my list that some people will say, "Oh, that's not metal," but
yes,
but yeah, I mean metal adjacent
Sure.
at least.
Yeah, Zeal and Ardor. Yeah.
Seal and Ardor.
I'll pay more attention because I kind of I felt like there might have been some sort of gimmick.
Yeah,
and that's why I wasn't listening to them. So
yeah,
that's on
and
me.
yeah, the thing is, it's pretty interesting how it started, and look it up. But basically, he started that band because of a troll on Reddit or 4chan or something like that told them to mix 2 different types of music.
Yeah.
In a very racist way, and they didn't know that he was actually of African descent. And he took it very literal, and
he's like sold.
Yeah. And to basically shut them up, and at least the first few albums are amazing, like really, really.
How cool is that?
This album is called the Grave, I think, kind of like Grief, but switch the vowels.
Yeah.
Switch them, and it's all in capitals.
Okay. So out of spite, almost.
Yeah.
The power of spite. So my next album is Blighted Eye, Agony's Bespoke. So this is a Seattle band, Washington. So you get a nice mix of this atmospheric death, black metal, a lot of melodies. The guitar shreds, dude. They're always fucking super catchy melodies. But you get a nice mix between gutturals and high vocals mixed in there. I know this is on a lot of people's lists that one of the metal chats that I'm in, I know Christian, Carrie from MSR Cast, Justin, a lot of the boys. Also, really quick, now that I remember that I'm talking about the boys, shout out to Mike. Shout out to Mike, MVP, man. He hooked me up with 200 Cigarettes, the movie.
Okay.
And Return to Oz. Oops, my bad. He sent it to me, and I put it on a USB stick at home, and it's on my TV right now, so I can watch those. And Hit their DVD, but still looks good. It looks really good. So super happy about that.
Nice.
I'm gonna watch that for New Year's. So thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. But with Blighted Eye, they always have this sense of like this ominous sound to it.
Okay.
And it's like I have other atmospheric black metal bands on my list. I mean, these are the ones that other people have. You might have it on your shit. I don't know, but the thing is like there's more of a elegance to those other bands. Okay. This one has more of a raw, aggressive, especially with the vocal delivery. They're not, I don't know, they just seem more harsh. As it is, it's already fucking screaming, and it's a little bit more harsh. But it's done in a great way. So,
interesting.
Blighted Eye, I think. And then when you see the cover, it's like, it looks like artwork from like the 1800s or something like that,
Okay.
I love when they do cover art like that. I'm not sure if you listen to Aquilus or something like that, but like they have that cool old school artwork, and I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to keep this a bit more commercial.
Let's do it.
No, I mean not really, because I think they're underrated still.
Yeah.
This next band, but it's a band that I've spoken about before, and a band that I really push for them. Fellow Texans, Oceans of Slumber.
Oh yeah. Okay. Actually, I never even heard this.
Where Gods Fear to Speak. It's called. So this album, for Oceans of Slumber, it's not my favorite, but it's still a really solid album. It's heavier than other of their previous albums. Cami started growling in this album as well. She usually just did clean singing, and
she's amazing.
In a few songs, so one of the other band members made the growl screams and all that gutturals, but now she started doing it, and she's doing it great. And it's a solid album, and it has two collaborations or feature artists there. And you're going to see this guy in this podcast a lot. Hey, maybe I'm a fanboy, but whatever. Michael Stan is there also. And then...
that I didn't know. That's cool.
What's his name? The Moonspell singer, Is it Fernando?
Yeah, I think it's Fernando.
Fernando. Yeah. He also sings in one of the songs there. Oh, nice. I think he could have been used a bit better on that song. Yeah. But that song's interesting.
Okay.
So for some people may like it more than I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still something to talk about that he's in there.
I mean, they've had what's his name from Antimatter, I think. Didn't he do vocals on a previous album?
Maybe. I know Tom Englund from Evergrey, which we just talked about. He did vocals on one of them.
Yeah. No, I think it was. I forget his name. The guy from Antimatter.
Antimatter. I've heard Antimatter.
He did guest vocals, I think, on a song, maybe an album or two ago.
Okay.
But I never even heard Oceans of Slumber, this newest album. So I'm gonna get on that. So that's cool. I completely went over my head. I forgot about that. Yeah. So again, probably because there's so many albums this year, probably.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah. Now, undoubtedly, I would say, and I'm just playing it safe, there may be a chance that Opeth will be on our list, maybe. However, if there's people who don't like Opeth and are tired of that, or maybe they didn't like the new album for some reason.
Well, listen to another podcast. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Get the fuck out. Then you might like Ubiquity. The Ascendant Travels Among the Stars. So Ubiquity is from Belgium.
Okay.
I don't think they're not signed. I don't think they're signed. They wear the Opeth influence on their sleeve, and it sounds amazing. I can't fucking bitch about it. Can't complain about it. Can't say a bad thing about it. It is so fucking good. And quite frankly, it's refreshing because, prior to this year, I had lost all confidence in Opeth, and everyone knows that I'm always talking shit. You guys know that. I was always talking shit, and I was like, fuck them already. Like I don't care about them anymore. And then this year was a little different, obviously, but yeah, Ubiquity. I mean,
I've heard the name.
it's so fucking good. I mean, it's ridiculous because down to the growls, down to the cleans, down to the. I mean, musically, it's not the same. Like where. Like the first 5 Opeth albums, I don't even think there was a chorus, right? So it kind of these guys have a little bit more structured. Musically, they're more structured, so there's that difference. But yeah, you could tell that they liked Opeth a lot.
Okay,
and it's in a fucking great way. So,
are they like really big into Opeth, or like you can tell, kind of like Wilderon, that you can tell, but
but
not exactly.
Yeah, it's not exactly. Wilderon's great too, by the way. But
they should have released an album, but
I know that would have been on our list probably. No,
for sure.
No, it's Ubiquity. I think you'll like them a lot because they hit all the check marks, dude.
Okay.
So yeah,
writing them down.
Mm-hmm.
Next one for me. Let's see. I mentioned Oceans of Slumber. It's gonna be, I don't know how to pronounce it. Guerra. Their album Coma.
Yeah.
Pretty solid blackened death metal.
Mm-hmm. They're on my list too.
Yeah.
Later on, but yeah.
Later on, okay. I mean, we can get into more detail about that later, but I mean, yeah. I mean, they're up there with the tops of the style, which is what would be like Behemoth and Rotting Christ, and what else is there?
I mean, the whole atmospheric Cavion in terms of this whole atmospheric black metal, loving this shrouded in mystery with the masks. What, from Portugal, I believe?
I think so.
They're fucking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know of how long they haven't been around more than 10 years, I think. But
I wouldn't think so.
But they're doing something refreshing, even though it's not new.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's the thing. So yeah, we'll get to that more whenever you get to that.
Okay. What's
yours?
So my number 11. It might be on your list. I don't know. Vola, Friend of a Phantom. Maybe not the best, Vola album, but it's still good. Where are they from?
Vola,
Denmark. They're Danish.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one is a lot genty, I think, a little heavier than the other ones, I think. But it's catchy. I love the electronic elements to it that I thought were, I used to think, because they do it in such a way that it's not like stupid.
Yeah.
It just works. It's part of the music. Like, it works fucking great. Yeah. And you hear it, like, it's just so fucking good, man.
Yeah. And they're in my list coming up. Yeah.
It's weird though. Like, I wasn't sure what to think because I had no clue that they were even going to release an album. And when it came out, I was like, oh shit, there's a new album. I had to listen to it. So yeah, that's good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Next mine, Jotun. Jotun with two N's. Kinship.
Kinship, man.
The name of the album. It's probably high up on yours. Mm-hmm. We'll get to the details there. But if you like Borknagar, and you probably like me, I like Borknagar, and their album wasn't on my top 15, and it barely missed the honorable mentions. Yeah. But Jotun's is there. Yeah. I mean, if you like that progressive death metal, I would say this is more melodic death metal. Yeah. Progressive. So instead of Borknagar being more on the black end, this is more on the melodic death metal. And I really like progressive melodic death metal lately, especially. And you're gonna notice because there's a few other in the genre later on for me. Yeah. But yeah, if you like Barren Earth, which is the same singer, if you like Borknagar, a few others, I mean, it's a band to check out.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk more about it, but yeah, I agree 100% with everything. Yeah. The next one was for number 10, Gay Area, also.
Area? Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just like this idea that there's a lot of bands that are coming out. They're taking that black metal formula.
Mm-hmm.
They're changing it, they're adjusting it, they're making it their own. I feel like that style has gotten better within the last 10 years.
I agree.
Because there's been, I mean, you have the champions, Emperor, they were played, they recently, I don't think they're going to record, but they've been playing recently. They're going to do a tour next year.
Yeah.
Behemoth has been playing, Mayhem has been doing stuff. But that's like a different kind of black metal, having to change it up. I love when bands change it up, and there's still this darkness and blackness to it, but pretty.
Yep.
If that makes sense. So I like that.
Polished, we could say.
Yeah, it is. It is. And they're on Season of Mist, which seems to be a lot of really good bands on my list were on Season of Mist records. And then for a band that has not been around for that many years, maybe about a decade, and already sounding this fucking good.
Yeah.
I could see that they're going to already be in the Hall of Fame, let's just say the Metal Hall of Fame, because they're just that good.
Yeah, at least for this generation, they are.
Oh no, hell yeah, absolutely.
And I agree with Seasons of Mist. It's probably one of the bands that have been releasing the best music in the last few years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next one on my end, similar vein to the previous one, In Vain.
Oh yeah,
That's
Vain, on my list too.
Yeah, In Vain, Solemn. Also progressive, kind of melodic death, kind of blackened, kind of a few different things. Similar bands like Barren Earth, Bornagar, a few more on the the opeth kind of side. But yeah, I mean, from here on, the rest of the bands could have been in the top 5. To be honest, the rest of the albums, including this one, I would say. And we'll get to it when we
it's further down on my list. But In Vain rules, dude. They're fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, they've been around for years, and I had no idea.
Yeah, I've heard of a few. I've heard of them for a few years.
Yeah.
And I've heard at least when they released a few albums.
Okay.
So yeah.
So my next one is for number 9, Cavion, Formless Fires. So this is to me in the atmospheric melodic black metal, they're shredders, dude. They just shred on the guitar, and it's fucking killer. This one also has that ominous feel to it, darker feel to it, but I don't know. There's just something a little different about them. Swedish, they're not really. Actually, I think it's just one person. I think this guy's name's Jacob. Does everything from what I saw. Swedish. Come on. Just right there, Swedish.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. It's good shit, man. Right? Yeah, but no, it's melodic black metal. I don't know what you'd want to, because a lot of these guys, they don't fall under just black metal.
Yeah, as you say, if they're shredders, they're melodic.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking good, man. This one, I think, if it's not on your list, maybe we could do a follow-up episode of stuff that we missed.
Okay.
And check out that, because it's worthy for sure.
Yeah, I have to check them out, because melodic death metal the style has had a little resurgence lately. Mm-hmm. Well, there were never many popular melodic black metal bands, but lately I've seen a few of them getting noticed.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Oh, and then what was I thinking? I forgot. Gates of Ishtar. Right. Looking forward to next year.
Oh yeah.
That's what I forgot. All right. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Next in my list, you mentioned them, Vola, Friend of a Phantom. There were a few months that my wife was hating me because I couldn't stop playing Break My Lying Tongue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's so catchy.
That's funny.
So catchy, but it has a synthy intro that can get annoying.
Yeah.
But I love it. I like it. So catchy. And last year, at the beginning of the year, it was that we last met, right? Towards the beginning of the year. Because we were talking about some of the bands we liked from the previous year. One of my favorite was Voyager. Mm-hmm. And they're on a similar vein to Voyager. Yeah. Voyager probably a little bit happier than Vola.
I would agree.
Vola a bit more on the like proggy, prog rock, prog alternative metal kind of thing.
I think they're modern in terms of the style of prog that they play.
Yes,
Modern
I agree.
electronic elements.
I agree.
Agree. Not as happy.
Yeah, and if you see the video that we're trying to release for this time, you can see my shirt that it's Lepro, so I really like that kind of style. But Friend of a Phantom, Break My Lying Tongue, I couldn't get it on my head.
It's a good one.
Then the collaboration with Anders Frieden from In Flames,
the opening track.
the opening track, it's a great song.
Yeah.
And there's many great songs in that album. So,
yeah. And again, I do think that it was a little heavier than the previous albums. You know.
Yeah, a bit genty.
It was
in a way, in a good way.
Gentler.
Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Yeah. All right. So my next album, which might be in yours, King Crow, Hopium, more prog rock, prog metal. I think they've been around for a while, but this is more, I would say, like elegant prog metal, right?
Okay.
It's not genty or whatever. They have those electronic elements, sort of poppy elements to it, but they do something in a way where I feel like you could play them at a family gathering. Okay. And no one's gonna get mad. Like they'll be like, "Oh, this is cool. This isn't too crazy or whatever." And then you're like, "I'm putting metal." And they don't even know. And you know, it's like with the kids, I played like Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
And they have no fucking idea that I'm like, it's still metal. So, but that's like you kind of put it in there. They're also on Season of Mist, and from Italy.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. They didn't reach my list, but I did listen to it, and it's a good album.
Yeah. Well, I have more prog, so.
Yeah. All right. Some people here, this might be controversial, but I'm just gonna say that what is this, number 9, number 7?
Yeah.
7?
I just did number 8, so yeah.
Yeah, number 7 and number 6 are basically tied on my list. So this is just based on the time that I had to listen to both of the albums. Opeth.
Okay.
Opeth, The Last Will and Testament. Did it get to your list?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk more in detail about it.
Much further down, yeah.
What I'm gonna say is that this could have been their transition album. If this was released after Watershed,
I know. I would have been.
It would have made the transition easier for everyone.
Hells yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hells yeah. I fucking 100% agree with that. That should have been the bridge.
Yes.
But we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Excellent album.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. My number 7 is Frost. Life in the Wires. Beautiful fucking album. Such a classy fucking prog metal album. Makes me happy. There's another one though that made me super, super, super happy, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
But they're from England. I mean, Jem Godfrey. I mean, there's this like prog metal royalty with this band that they've been involved with IQ. They've been involved with Kino and Arena. They've been involved with other bands, you know, in one way or another. But Frost, fucking beautiful, man. It's a fucking beautiful album, I think.
Okay, I didn't hear it. What's the style you said?
Prog metal.
Prog metal. Okay.
Yeah, but it's more. There's heavy parts to it. It's never aggressive or anything like that in terms of like growls or anything like that. But it's done in such a classy way.
Okay.
I think that's going to be an album where you're like, fuck, I missed this one. It's fucking good, man. So I recommend you check it out.
Nice. Number 6. Again, I said this basically tied with Opeth. It may be that I had way more time to listen to this because I think this released in January. Isan. Some people call it Ishan, but I've heard him say Isan.
Yeah, I've heard him say that too.
Yeah, so Isan, self-titled Isan. Great album. Those of you that stopped listening to Isan after Emperor should listen to this album because while it is prog metal, it is blackened prog metal, I would say. Yeah. It's probably if not the first, the one that, of the Isan solo albums that sound the most like Emperor.
Okay.
I don't know if you had a chance
I
to
listened
check
to a
it out.
couple songs,
Yeah.
but not in depth, or I didn't go through all of it.
Yeah, and I mean it's that album similar to Opeth that they were doing a new thing and then they reached to their old uh, selves to I don't know mix in some of what they used to do. Same with his hand, like he's doing some very dark, very it's not black metal, but some black metal inspired riffs in there. Way more growling than before on previous albums, and it's really nice. It's atmospheric at points. It's very proggy at points. It's very dark at some points.
This is still like saxophones and different.
I don't remember that much about like metal, like not metal, like brass instruments
Yeah, yeah.
there, but yeah, I mean, he mixes what he does as his hand with what he did as Emperor.
Okay.
So it's a
You put them together.
great album.
Like,
yeah.
That's cool. Okay, I can dig that. My number 6 is Blood Incantation.
Okay.
Absolute Elsewhere. I think that is like basically it's 2 songs split up, but fuck,
Yeah.
it's a fucking monster, dude.
It's on mine.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah, it's like a whole fucking beast, like in itself. And I want to get that fucker on vinyl.
Yeah.
Just flip, and then you're done. Fuck, dude, it's so good. I mean, if people are not familiar, I mean, I guess I shouldn't doubted them with the EP they released. I think was last year or whenever it was. I was like,
a few years ago,
what the fuck is this? I was so angry, dude, because I was like, come on, guys. I know that I think they had spoken about it, and then I was like, you guys they're just being stupid. And then they released it, and I was like, oh, dude, why? And then I just stayed shut. My mouth stayed quiet. This is such a fucking good technical prog mix. It's beautiful. It's a fucking beautiful album.
Yeah. So I think we should pause.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and talk more about it.
All right. So now we're officially in our top 5.
Yes. And I'm going to start my top 5 by saying the same album you just said, Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, with this album, it's kind of hard not to get in the jump into the bandwagon, right?
Oh, yeah.
If anyone tells me this is the album of the year, I would not disagree with them, because this, at the beginning we mentioned, there's very few albums that we've seen in many people's lists.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the album that I've seen in the most people's list.
Oh, hell yeah.
At least top 10 or top 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you mentioned, it's progressive death metal. Very cosmic, as you would say.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the psychedelic kind of prog as much, but this kind of more synthy kind of cosmic psychedelia I do like.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a collaboration with Tangerine Dream, which is a band that would never think of hearing with metal.
Yeah, like they shouldn't mix.
Yeah, they shouldn't mix, and they mix perfectly.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's basically 2 songs, right? It's probably on this list is the only album that I would say you have to listen to the whole thing. It's an experience, basically. It's an experience listening to all of it.
Yeah.
Blood Incantation is a band that I dismissed in the past. Because people were saying like, oh, it's like brutal death metal. And whenever people say brutal death metal, it's one of 2 things. Like, it actually is like really heavy death metal.
Yeah.
Or it's slam or deathcore.
Yeah,
that kind of, that it's not brutal death metal. It's just like,
it's just slam.
what people say, it's slam or deathcore-ish kind of.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I got you.
And I thought it was like that.
Yeah.
But no, they're like death metal with really brutal vocals at some points, very heavy, atmosphere more than, I mean, it's riffs as well.
Yeah.
But,
I know that there are people who had we're saying that, oh, maybe if you like Pink Floyd and you like, and I think that's the proggy side to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overdone or it's not done in a way where it takes away from the heaviness.
Not at all.
And it's just clever. It's just the way they did it, and it's still accessible. I think I still have people who maybe don't listen to this sort of metal. I think they can still at least appreciate it and like it.
I agree.
So, absolutely agree. Though it's already on so many people's fucking lists. It's incredible. So, love that.
Yeah. And again, as I mentioned when I started, if this isn't higher up my list, it's because there were some albums that I listened to way more than this.
Yeah.
Because as we're talking offline, catchiness is the main thing for me. And the last 4 albums for me are catchy as they come.
Okay.
What's your 5s?
My 5th. Big Train, The Likes of Us. This to me is my right next to Frost, my favorite prog album of the year. This is just what I call chicken soup for the soul. Makes you happy. Well, shit, it made me happy. It's just unpretentious prog metal, if you could even think to say that, right? Does that even work? It works, man. Big Train, dude. So there are elements of old 70s prog and modern, just into one. Very much the way Arjun is able to do with Arion. Not intergalactic or sci-fi, but more serious shit.
Okay.
And it's just so fucking good. I had not heard an album in such a long time that made me happy. It just uplifts your mood more than it should.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it's one of those albums, So yeah, Big Train. Where are they from?
I heard the name.
They're from England.
Big Train.
And they're on Inside Out Records.
Okay.
So that kind of shows you a lot,
They're
on Inside Out. So I mean, if you like bands like Spock's Beard and you like those, all those weird prog bands, you might like Big Train. This one's a little heavier, I think. It doesn't get heavy like Arion, but it gets heavy.
Okay.
There's double bass and everything, and so it gets heavy.
Interesting.
Beautiful vocals. 100%. If you're into prog metal, do not miss out on Big Train. It's a weird name.
Yeah.
But they're fucking great. They're so good.
Yeah. You mentioned they're serious, but the name makes you think they're not.
Yeah. And then and you see the cover art, and it's just like these kids running in a field. And you're like, what is this? But no, it's good, dude. It's good. It makes my day listening to it. So 100%.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Number 4 on my list, and I said this before, he's gonna keep coming back. Dark Tranquillity and Time Signals. Yes, it doesn't bring anything particularly new to the table, but at the same time, it mixes the whole history of Dark Tranquillity into one album. Like stylistically, you can see some songs that sound like the very first few albums. Then you hear some songs that sound like the Projector kind of era,
or Damage Done,
era, Character Fiction era. Like there's some really heavy songs there. There's some really soft songs there, but everything's solid. Yeah. And it kept coming back on my list, and before I knew it, I already were singing songs. So
yeah, I would have that in my top 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It is very good.
It is good,
yeah. Jotun.
Okay.
Kinship, number 4. Again, that is one of those albums where the clean vocals are fucking incredible. That's what got me. Like, you hear growls all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that all the time, and you know, there's some who are like the growl gods. You know, Michael from Opeth. They fucking, you know, they do it in such a way. There's other bands that do it in such a way. Not taking away from these guys' vocals, but goddamn, the clean vocals, you know, could be Opeth adjacent. You know, just by what they're doing, progressive. Um, I don't know how long they've been around. Do you know?
Before this release, I was actually listening to their last release.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they only have either one album and one EP or just one more album.
I think I think you're right. I think it's two.
Yeah.
I think it's two. And then they're on Metal Blade, which is, to me, strange on a Metal Blade catalog, you know, being part of that roster.
They don't have a lot of progressive stuff.
No. This is to me easily one of the best progressive metal albums of the year.
Okay.
Regardless of what I don't know, it's just one of those fucking great albums. They're Danish also. And I think Jotun is a giant
I think so.
In
Norse mythology.
In Norse mythology, so I think that's fucking cool. They bring all that together. But there is something special when you listen to it. I mean, it's just it starts off with like this epic, you know, and it just gets better. It just gets fucking better. I don't know where they came from or how they got started, and they're so young and they're just barely starting. But I could see, I hate to see when bands start this high.
Yeah,
you know, they hit a ceiling, and is there one for them? We'll see, I guess, man. So I look forward to what they have planned.
Yeah, they're great. They're as you mentioned, like some Opeth adjacent. Mm-hmm. But I would also say, like, if you like Winterson.
Oh yeah.
It sounds a lot like a mix of Winterson and Opeth in a way.
Yeah.
For me, at least. So yeah, and I really love the voice of the singer because he also sings in Hamford.
Okay, I've seen the name, but I don't think I've heard them before.
And Barren Earth. Mm-hmm. I really love Barren Earth, which if you haven't heard, highly recommend it. Okay. Next on my list, you can see my shirt already. Those that are seeing a video, Leprous. One of those albums that I know people are gonna say it's not really metal, but I think they went a bit back on the heavier stuff on this album, while also keeping all those even pop inspired, but really. I don't know. It's a lot of technicality to what they do. Yeah. They're all great musicians, but it's not just about musicianship and talent. It's about catchiness. Like, songs are really catchy, compositions are great. Yeah. Einar's vocals he's probably the most talented singer in metal to me. Yeah. So it's a really great album, very catchy, and also it was the first time I saw them live, so I think that had some impact on it. Are you
gonna watch them next year? They're gonna tour in the spring with Wheel.
Oh,
I think they're gonna hit Tucson.
I remember. Yeah,
on April 20th, on a Sunday.
I hope I can.
Yeah, because if you follow the same schedule, I think we're off that Monday. For forgot what.
Okay.
Easter. I don't know what holiday is on that Monday.
I hope we are.
Yeah, I might check them out.
What I know is that same day.
Yeah.
In Phoenix, a new show that they announced this week, Dying Fetus, Cradle of Filth.
It's the same day.
With Flesh God Apocalypse, with Neo Obliviscaris.
Yeah.
Which those three bands I love already.
Yeah.
And who else was in it? I don't remember, but like two more bands. Like
I don't know the other bands. They were on the bottom of the but no, Dying Fetus, those guys are fucking great. Cradle, Neo, and Flesh God, dude.
Yeah.
I think we already planned to go see that.
Yeah, it's on the same weekend at least.
Okay. Yeah, I know we are definitely gonna go. Maybe I'm mistaken it for that weekend. Leprous and Wheel. Okay. But my wife and she sent me a message yesterday. I'm like, let's fucking do it. Let's just go. Like, so we're going to buy the tickets. She's like, is it going to sell out? I'm like, probably not. it probably won't sell out. But Cradle might accelerate the sales,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to sell. Did they say who's headlining, or is it just alternating? Or
I think it's Dying Fetus.
really?
Yeah, for some reason.
It's going to be a short set list, anyways. Then
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Dying Fetus. They have that weird, crunchy, like the riffage that they use. I don't know. I just like the way they play.
Yeah, I've seen them live, and I think after I saw them live, I stopped liking them as much. So hopefully it was just that show.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Or if not, hey, let's hang out, drink beer, and enjoy it from the back.
Yeah.
All right, my next one, my number 3, Wormwood, the Star. This is one of the most emotional, I think, melodic black metal, atmospheric black metal albums out there. I'm not sure where they're from. They're from Sweden.
Okay.
This reminds me of like the X-Files was like on all the lore, all the UFO, all the abductions and all kinds of shit. If they made a fucking black metal album, melodic black metal album, this is what you'd fucking get. And it is just so fucking good that it's ridiculous in terms of this level of musicianship, just everything that they're fucking doing.
Okay.
When you listen to the band, like the name, Wormwood, you're like, that's probably like death metal or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I had mistaken them for, I think it was like Wormwitch, but no, it's Wormwood and the Star, man. This is, I think, their 4th album. You cannot go wrong with this fucking album, dude. If you like, I think it takes it to the next level from Kavion and Garia. It just takes it to the next fucking level. Okay. And it involves this emotive response, I think. And you'll like the cover art and everything. Some dude in a fucking cabin looking out, and there's like aliens and shit coming in. Like it's fucking cool, man. It's a really good album. So
sounds interesting.
Highly, 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 highly recommend it.
Great.
By the way, cheers.
Cheers. All right, we're up to the top 2.
Yes, sir.
Cemetery Skyline. Again, Michael Stan. But this guy's been busy and
hell yeah, dude.
And I mean, next month he's releasing another album. He released 4 albums with 4 different bands in a year and a half. So that's already impressive in it by itself. But Cemetery Skyline, those of you who are not familiar with it yet, probably the last band in my list that is one of those that people will say it's not necessarily metal, but it's this gothic rock, gothic metal album.
It's in the family.
Yeah, it's there. So if you have nostalgia for that style, like Typo Negative, even Him Moonspell,
maybe.
Moonspell,
Sentenced.
Sentence particularly because the drummer
from
Sentence there.
There's some good roots.
Yeah, and besides that, if you don't know about them, you should, because it's a super band basically.
Yeah.
It's Marcus Van Halla from Insomnium.
There you go.
There's Michael Stan, the bassist from Dimmu Borgir, keyboard Santeri Kallio from Amorphis. And the drummer from Sentence. So, I mean, it's good. It probably could, if you're really interested in like technicality and all that, it's not the album for you.
Right.
But if you're interested in catchiness and like gothic atmosphere and just that nostalgia for 90s, early 2000s gothic rock, gothic metal, you're going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's something about Michael's vocals that are like, this was a fucking no-brainer. It was like they were meant to be.
I agree.
People were bitching about that in Projector and Haven and everything else, and when he started to do that, and it's like, you can't bitch about that here, man. Because that's what it is, and it's done in such a fucking beautiful way.
Yeah.
So fucking talented, man.
I agree.
So we're on our number 2.
Number 2.
I'm on my 2, and then you get to number 1 right now.
Yes.
Okay. In Vain, To the Gallows. Again, great vocals, great cleans, musicianship is up there. The amount of, again, maybe opeth adjacent.
Yeah.
They're hard to
For sure.
categorize 100%. Like you were saying, maybe melodic death metal, progressive death metal. I think is a good starting point. They're from Norway. I find it really hard to believe that I don't think they're on a label, which I don't really think is a big deal anymore these days.
Okay.
For modern bands, I think now you could release stuff independently. You have Bandcamp, you have things like that where it makes it easier, I guess.
Yeah, didn't notice they were not on a label.
At this moment, I don't think they are. Yeah, and I mean they've been around for years. They've been around for 20 years. This is their 5th album.
Yeah.
So interesting, very interesting. And to me, who can we compare them to? You know what I mean?
Many bands, but not many in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if you like Opeth, you'll probably like them.
Yes.
Right. If you're into that kind of thing, then you'll probably like them. The same thing with that I had mentioned earlier with Ubiquity. If you liked Opeth, you're gonna really like Ubiquity. But I don't know. I don't know. I get this sense of when a band like that is doing, they're doing something fucking special.
Yeah,
and I don't know. What I like is you see movies, right? And I wonder when they're filming, if they know that what they're filming is going to be a fucking classic.
Yeah.
When they're recording, do these guys know that this is going to be so fucking good? That's my thought for the day, I guess, for the night. But yeah, In Vain, dude. You guys fucking check that one out.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, it's one of those bands that have the new, like the modern, progressive, deathish kind of sound, like Neo Oblivious Scaries that we just mentioned, Wilderon, Oceans of Slumber, even. Like even a bit like more varied styles in there. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those bands for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we getting to our final band, top 1.
Yeah.
This is an album that I haven't seen in many lists, to be honest.
Okay.
I've seen in some that got disappointed by it. I've seen in some that didn't even know that this album came out.
Okay.
Death, The Deceivers.
Okay.
I've heard of Death for many, many years.
Same.
But I never really got into them. Never really listened to them much.
Same. Yeah.
But this album really made me a fan.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's based of the sound is melodic death metal.
Yeah.
But it's groove metal in a way. So it's a very groovy melodic death metal, but it's also kind of progressive death metal. It's also kind of technical death metal, but it used to be more industrial, but it has some scenes and all that. But I mean, it's very like you want to headbang to every single song. Yeah. Like the groove part of it is there. Like it has some catchiness, more to the groove than the melody, but there's some very catchy melodies. But a highlight also of this album, well, I would say 2 highlights. Mm-hmm. One is they hadn't released an album in more than 10 years.
Oh shit. Okay.
So they were almost disbanded basically for a while, and they came back with this album with new members. One of them is Rafael Trujillo who used to be the guitar player from Obscura.
Oh shit. Okay.
And then there's I think his name's Krim, the drums. Mm-hmm. These 2 guys are from Austria, I think. The rest of the band is from the US. And the other highlight that I wanted to say is the amount of collaborations in this album. There's only like 1 or 2 songs that are not featuring another artist. Okay. There's from the usual suspects like Jeff Loomis, Per Nielsen from Scar Symmetry, To others that you wouldn't really think much when in melodic death metal, like what's his name, Mark Holcomb, I think, from Periphery.
Oh shit. Okay.
Then there's also the guitarist from Arcspire.
Mhm.
Then even the guitarist from Ice Nine Kills. Like Ice Nine Kills,
Right.
like it's one of those bands that it's like metalcore,
Poppy metal.
metalcore, yeah.
Yeah.
But that guitarist can surely play.
Yeah.
And then there's this other, I think he's more of either a YouTuber or like a solo guitarist. Spiro Ducias, I think it's his last name.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not
He
familiar.
also is another feature artist.
Yeah.
So it's an album, but I think should have been. It's very underrated. Not a lot of people know about it.
I didn't even know they were making music, so
Yeah.
you got me there.
So that's an album.
Wow.
Like it's a band that it reached some commercial success in the past, but I never really paid attention. But this album made me pay attention.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Okay. I added it right now when we're talking about it, so I'm gonna be listening to that. That mind blown, dude,
Yeah.
in a good way. So that's cool. And it's cool. And I mean, I was already sold when you talked about fucking Jeff Loomis. So
Yeah.
there it is, right? My number one, and I don't think it comes to anyone's surprise, and it just recently came out, is Opeth, The Last Will and Testament.
Yeah.
It is the I guess now we see it as the perfect marriage of old and new.
Agree.
Can't bitch about growls on this one because it's like I think Michael said it's like 70% growls. I bought the Decibel magazine, representing Decibel. I bought the magazine with Michael Opeth featured on it.
Okay.
And read the interview and everything, and I think there was just something for me that I had been missing for like over 10 years, for a lot of us that we were just missing out on, wondering if they were ever going to get to that side again. And I think the idea that people were like bitching about like, oh, you can't do that anymore, you can't growl anymore, and he's like, fuck you, I'm going to show you what I can do. But the idea of the story in itself, The Last Will and Testament, written in paragraphs, really, as a concept album, just like one whole paragraph, divided into paragraphs, but it's like really one song.
Yeah.
And then you have the story never told at the very end, and it's just like probably the only song doesn't have any growls on it. I love the idea that he talked about. I think he said that he was trying to run a record store, or he was working for a record store.
Okay.
And they had to clear out. Somebody had told him, hey, my father passed away. Can you come and check out the records that he left behind? And so he got that seed in that, whoa, what am I going to leave to my kids when I go?
Okay.
Are they going to fucking sell off my fucking records, And he got that idea of The Last Will and Testament, from that. And I just thought it was interesting. So there was a lot of sentimental value, I think, for me, for this album. It meant a lot. I think I liked it more than some other people, some of my friends, just because of that. Back to form, I guess you could say.
I agree.
I hope it's to stay. And, I know that Michael also got the itch again from playing live. Some of the recent tours that they did, and some of I think it was the anniversary tour that they did with a lot of the old songs that they were doing.
Yeah.
I think that's when he was really considering bringing back the growls. And because he's like, fuck, they sound good. I mean, because they do. I don't know. And you know what? The idea that these songs they're not long. They're not terribly long. They're like 5-6 minutes. Nothing crazy. They flow into each other. This would be a perfect fucking vinyl.
Yeah.
I think this, The Last Will and Testament, and Blood Incantation, those two albums from Opeth and Blood Incantation will be perfect records to own. Let it flow, let it go. Just listen to it and have a fucking great time. And I went into All That Music, and I was like, wait, $51? Nah.
Every single Opeth album is expensive. I don't know why.
I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. So that's when my girl got me Morning Rise and Orchid.
Okay.
And in Justice for All, she got a 2-for-1 special. I think all 3 for $60.
That's a good.
Well, basically two for $60 and got the free one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good deal, by the way, at Target. Of all places, fucking Target.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't stop being happy with Opeth. Opeth, the new album, brings me back to when I was a teenager again and makes me happy. Big Big Train makes me happy in a different way. It just makes you appreciate life and appreciate things. As cheesy as it sounds, it makes you appreciate things a lot more. I think all these albums bring something to the table. Frost, specifically, Big Big Train, and Opeth. I don't know if there's one album from your list that you would want someone to listen to. I think for me, it would be Wormwood, The Star.
Okay.
I think it's mind-blowing. You know, we've heard Opeth. We know what Opeth is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you want someone to listen to something different and fucking beautiful and that's wonderful, I think that's great. I recommend people listen to Wormwood.
Interesting. And to add to what you just said, I think both the Opeth album, Last Will and Testament, and Blood Incantation are the two concept albums.
Yeah.
There may be a few more, but those are the two that the whole concept, the whole album is good.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing about it. That's the reason why owning it in vinyl, or at least in anything you can own it, is important.
Yeah.
And for the other thing you mentioned, those albums that I would really want someone to listen to from my list, I would say Mater Mortem from I don't remember if it was on my top 15 or in my honorable mentions, but more so because it's a band that has been there since the 90s and hasn't really reached that acclaim, or people don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
And just because of that, I really like their discography. And the other album, Death. I mean, why are not like more people not talking about it? And it's a Metal Blade album.
No shit.
Which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Which Metal Blade releases really good stuff.
Yeah.
So for me this year, Metal Blade and Season of Mist are probably the two labels that did the best
this year. Yeah, I agree. You know, for those who are not familiar or have not heard the new Opeth album for some reason, or maybe you're just tired of their shit or whatever. But I think it's a great concept. You know, this idea of an heir, but not really an heir. It's someone else, and it's just like this betrayal. And there's just so many things. There's like drama. There's this elements of everything in there.
Yeah,
it drew me in. I don't know if it would have been just the regular Opeth album with no concept. I don't know how I would have if it would have appealed to me the same way. So, you know, the other albums that I didn't talk about, I'll bring up really quick, was Firewind.
Okay.
Firewind did a really good album, Stand United. Turbulence, Binary Dream is another fucking progmetal album. That one's like super genty, super fucking heavy. I'm happy with my list, you know. It took me a little bit of time, and I think this past week, trying to put everything together and trying to like decide what's gonna be in the top 15. Because once we had decided on 15, that's when it was like, fuck, I gotta start whittling it down to what it should be at 15, you know?
Yeah.
So that was tough, man.
And I thought I had my list until because I worked on it a while back because of I'm also doing a video for my the media very cool.
Yeah.
I worked on it and I thought I had my list already set up, and then a few days, like at the beginning of the week, I was coming back to it, and I'm like, you know what? The last few albums are, there's so many tied in there that I'm not sure if it's set. So yeah, I mean, again, so many good releases this year.
Oh yeah.
It was a great year for metal, not only in releases, like really good things happened to metal this year.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about Gojira's presentation at the Olympics, right?
Oh no shit. That was a stand-up for metal moment, man.
Yeah, I
that
think
was a beautiful thing for metal, dude.
Top 3 moments in metal history. Top 3 at least. That's just because I'm not wanting to give it the top 1 because there may be a few more that I'm missing. But top 3 at least. Like, it was a very
interesting year too, right?
Interesting year in many ways.
Yeah.
Some people will say that this band, what's it called, Knocked Loose, I think, or was it?
Knocked Loose. Yeah.
In Jimmy Kimmel was like the top thing in metal. It was important. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. Yeah. I really don't listen to them, but it was important because many bands have done it before. But how long ago?
Right.
Last band I remember that did something like that was probably Baby Metal in Stephen Colbert.
Mm. I didn't even know they played on.
Yeah, but I think I'm not even sure if it was before he went into national TV or not.
And maybe even Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, how long ago, right? How long ago was that?
15, 20 years maybe.
So yeah, I mean, it's been done before, but it hadn't been done in a long time. So yeah, it is important.
To modern people, I would say.
Yeah, to modern people.
I want to kind of go back to what you're saying about Knocked Loose. And I mean, I don't think he should have apologized for that shit.
Oh, no.
That was really fucking stupid, I think. And I don't know, did he actually apologize or they wanted him to apologize? Because I know people were bitching about it. You know, like their kid was like fucking crying or whatever the fuck or whatever happened.
It was a PR plot.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, what better free advertising than that, right?
Cannibal Corpse, man. With Gore, or who was it? Bob Dole.
Okay.
Bob Dole was bitching about it the early 90s about you shouldn't be listening to Cannibal Corpse. And who was it? Like Mark Wahlberg or whoever the fuck he was in at the time. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
He was like bitching about those bands, and then Cannibal Corpse is like fucking skyrocketed like crazy. They're on fucking Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura.
And then it was just, that was it. Game over, dude.
And the Satanic Panic in the 80s and 90s and all that. Like Twisted Sister.
Yeah, the PMRC. Everything, the whole, I mean, I guess the whole parental advisory.
Yeah.
You know, the fight for that. This was important. And I do see Gojira's performance at the Olympics as a milestone.
Yes.
As much as people complained and, you know, it tended to be very religious people who were upset about that.
Yeah. Controversial, but metal is supposed to be controversial.
Sure. Or also would it be metal, man?
Yeah.
Simple as that. Good shit, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Hope you guys enjoyed our talk, our list. What are some of the ones that, some bands that we missed? I'm sure we missed, there was a shit ton of bands.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we missed a lot of bands. I do have other bands that I did listen to and I liked, but I just made a top 15. So if I had made a top 30, top 25, this list would be vastly different. And maybe the order would be vastly different too.
I agree.
So.
And yeah, I would say this is probably the best thing that came out of the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, a lot of bands were working on stuff. They had the time to work on it. Many of them gained a newfound, I don't know, like inspiration after some of those releases from that time. And some other bands were inspired by those releases, right? Yeah. So this is just like the domino effect effect or the butterfly effect. Both of them work in this case.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we're gonna end it here. As always, buy the ticket, take the fucking ride. Peace.
See you around.